The dump. No one dared enter. The sky above the colony world of Dravis 3 was always dark. Clouds of yellow dust moved like ghosts across the broken ground. Wind howled through metal skeletons of old buildings. This place wasn't a home. It was a graveyard for machines. Jace, a human scavenger, stood on the edge of a steep ridge. Below him stretched the forbidden dump, an alien junkyard so huge it looked like a metal ocean. Ships, broken droids, armor, weapons and tech older than any human memory, piled high and rotting. No one went in. Locals said it was cursed. They called it the Silence Pit. But Jace was hungry. His food rations were almost gone. His water filters were failing. He had no credits, no job, and no choice. He tightened his gloves and dropped down the ridge. His boots hit old metal with a loud clunk. Something moved in the pile, a small creature with 6 legs. It ran. Jace kept walking. His eyes scanned for anything valuable. Most scavengers searched near the surface, grabbing cables, copper coils, and scraps. But Jace was different. He went deep. Hours passed. He climbed over twisted machines and melted armor. The deeper he went, the quieter it became. The wind stopped. The air felt thick, like something was watching. Then, he saw it, half buried. Under a collapsed alien walker there was a faint golden glow. Not strong, just a shimmer, like light seen through fog. Curious, Jace brushed away some dirt. 2 strange boots were sticking out of the wreck. They didn't look special. Old, cracked, covered in dust. But they shimmered in the light, as if they were alive. These might sell, he whispered. He reached out. The moment his fingers touched the boots, his skin tingled. Static jumped from the leather. He jerked back, but something called to him. He couldn't explain it. It wasn't words. It was a feeling. Like the boots wanted to be found. Jace grabbed them, and suddenly, they moved. The boots snapped open and clamped onto his legs like armor. He screamed, falling backward, kicking wildly. But they wouldn't come off. They sealed around his calves with a sound like air locking into place. What the hell? What the? Panic shot through him. He tried to pull them off, even banged them against the wreck, but they stuck. Then something worse happened. A surge of energy rushed up his legs, filling his veins with fire. He fell to the ground, convulsing. His mind exploded with flashes, images of places he didn't know, stars he had never seen, and a symbol, a golden flame. He woke minutes later, breathing hard. The boots were quiet now, still on, still glowing faintly. He stood. The air felt lighter. He took a step and launched 10 feet forward. What? He stumbled, landing hard, but it didn't hurt. In fact, he felt stronger. He could feel the ground beneath him in a new way, like the boots were alive, reading his movements, adjusting his balance. Jace stood still. Okay, these are not normal boots. Then he heard it, a soft hum in the air, electronic, sharp. He looked up. A drone, alien design, oval-shaped, with a red eye glowing beneath it. It hovered silently, watching. Jace backed away, but it followed. No, no, no. He turned and ran, but this time his body moved faster than ever before. He jumped over piles of wreckage like a cat. The drone chased him, but couldn't keep up. Within minutes, he was out of the dump and back on the ridge. The drone paused, then turned and flew away. Far, far above, orbiting Dravis 3 in a black ship shaped like a blade, a tall alien figure opened its eyes. Its skin was gray-blue, its armor ancient. It looked at the glowing symbol on its monitor. The relic has awakened, it said, and it chose a human. The alien clenched its fist. Send the hunters. Back on the ridge, Jace stared down at the strange boots. His heart pounded. What did I just put on? And why did it feel like the universe just noticed? The boots that weren't just boots. Jace sat by the fire that night, legs stretched out, staring at the strange boots locked around his shins. The fire crackled quietly, but his thoughts were loud. These weren't just boots. They were alive, somehow. He poked the side of one with a stick. Nothing happened. "Okay," he muttered. "What are you?" No response. Of course not. But the boots gave off a faint warmth as if they were powered from within. They didn't feel heavy. In fact, they felt light, almost like they wanted him to move, to run, to use them. He leaned back against a rock. Am I going crazy? He didn't sleep much that night. Not because he wasn't tired, but because he didn't feel tired at all. His body felt like it had rested during the surge of energy earlier. His arms were stronger, his eyesight clearer. It was like the boots had done something to him. The next morning, Jace tested a jump. He crouched low and launched. He soared over the ridge like a missile, flipped mid-air, and landed on his feet with a soft thud. He froze. He couldn't believe it. He tried again, and jumped higher than a building. This is insane. He could feel the boots sinking with him. The more he moved, the more they adapted. They weren't just alien tech. They were like a part of him now. He knew one thing for sure. These weren't meant for garbage. They were made for war. That's when the first hunter came. The sky shimmered as something broke through the clouds. A sleek black ship dropped into the wasteland like a falling knife. It didn't make a sound, just cut through the wind and hovered over the junk. Jace stood still on the high ridge. From the ship's belly, something dropped. Tall, humanoid, covered in chrome armor with curved blades on its arms. Its eyes glowed green. It scanned the area. Then it looked straight at Jace. Oh no. The hunter launched forward with terrifying speed. Jace turned to run, but the boots reacted before his brain could. He was off like a lightning bolt, zipping across the dirt and metal, jumping over wreckage. The hunter followed, slicing through anything in its path. Jace ran faster than he thought possible, but the hunter was catching up. He dove behind a crashed starship, panting. "I need a plan." He looked at his feet. "Do you have weapons?" The boots glowed brighter. Suddenly, metal grew from the soles, curved spikes forming near his heels. Whoa, he barely had time to react. The hunter lunged at him, but this time Jace kicked. The boots spun his body midair with perfect timing, and his heel struck the hunter's face. Sparks flew. The alien warrior staggered back. Jace landed. Okay, that worked. He didn't. Wait. He ran again. But now he was learning to fight with the boots. He jumped, flipped, kicked. The boots adjusted every time. He wasn't running away anymore. He was testing his strength. Minutes later, the hunter lay defeated, smashed into a metal beam, sparks raining from its damaged helmet. Jace stood over it, breathing hard. That it wasn't supposed to happen. The hunter's eye glowed one last time, then faded. The boots powered down. But above him, two more ships appeared, and far across the galaxy, that same tall alien from before, watching everything through an ancient monitor, narrowed its eyes. "Devoir. Human is learning," it growled. "Send the second wave." Back on Dravis 3, Jace knew one thing. He had found something the galaxy wanted hidden, and now he was going to find out why. The signal from the past, Jace sat inside the skeleton of a downed cargo ship, his back against the cold metal wall. The boots had cooled down now, no longer glowing, but he could still feel the pulse in them, as if they were waiting. Outside, the wind howled across the junk plains. But Jace wasn't focused on that. He had found something strange. It was a square black box, half buried under the same pile where he had first discovered the boots. It was small, about the size of his palm, but covered in alien symbols. One symbol kept flashing over and over like it was trying to talk. He tilted his head. "What do you want me to do? Open you?" He gently pressed the side. The box clicked. A soft humming filled the air. Suddenly, a blue hologram burst out of it. A woman appeared. Not human. She had soft lavender skin, glowing eyes, and hair like liquid silver. She looked sad. She spoke in a language Jace didn't know, but as the symbols flowed, the boots reacted. They translated. To the one who wears the boots of Kaival, I pray you are worthy. Jace leaned in, stunned. We fell long ago, hunted, betrayed. These boots were once worn by my people's greatest protectors, but they were lost. Until now. The woman looked directly at him through the hologram. If you are not one of us, if you are human, then listen closely. The ones who destroyed my world, they will come for you. The hologram glitched but kept going. These boots are not just armor, they are memory. They hold the truth of what happened to the Kaival, and they will lead you to the core. Jace blinked. The core? Find the place where the sky burns gold. There you'll find the beacon. And maybe, just maybe, you can finish what we never could. The hologram faded. Silence. Jace sat for a while, heart racing. He wasn't just in a random junkyard anymore. He was part of something ancient, something powerful, something unfinished. That night, Jace dreamed. He saw a tall warrior, wearing the same boots, standing alone against a black army with glowing red eyes. The warrior fought with grace and fury, leaping through the air, kicking enemies like thunder, crashing into earth. Behind him, a city burned. But as the dream faded, Jace saw a symbol, etched into the sky with fire. The same symbol glowing on the boots now. When he awoke, the boots were lit again, pulsing, pointing in a direction. Not just random light anymore, but a path. Jace stood. You want me to follow you? He took a breath and stepped out into the cold wind. The horizon was endless, mountains of metal ahead. But the boots knew the way. He followed. Hours later, he heard something strange. Not machines, not ships. Voices. He dropped to the ground and crawled forward. From the ridge, he looked down at a hidden camp made from ship parts. Alien figures walked between tents. Some wore armor, others held weapons. But at the center was a cage. Inside the cage sat a girl. Young, alien, covered in dirt and bruises. Her skin was faintly violet like the woman in the hologram. She stared blankly at the ground, unmoving. Jace clenched his fists. He didn't know who she was, but something in him knew. This was connected, deeply. The boots agreed. They pulsed faster, and Jace realized something. He wasn't just wearing armor anymore. He was carrying a mission, a legacy, and it had just begun. Rescue at midnight, Jace crouched behind a pile of rusted metal, watching the alien camp through cracked goggles. The night was cold, the wind sharp, but his hands were steady. The girl in the cage hadn't moved in hours. Her head was down, her knees drawn close to her chest. She looked so small, so fragile, yet something about her presence felt powerful. Jace whispered to himself, I don't know who you are, but I can't leave you here. The boots glowed faintly beneath him, dim blue pulses traveling up his legs like waves. He could feel their energy guiding him, almost like they were reading his heart. The camp had 2 guards at the front gate, tall, insect-like aliens with long rifles. They laughed as they passed a glowing bottle between them, unaware of the shadow slipping along the shipwreckage behind them. Jace moved quickly, boots nearly silent despite the gravel. He counted his breaths. 1, 2, 3. He pressed a button on the side of his wrist. The boots responded instantly. Blink! Jace shot into the air, 50 feet in one blink, and landed silently on the roof of a broken shuttle. He moved like wind, leaping from roof to roof. The guards never saw him coming. Within minutes, he was at the back of the camp. Only one alien stood near the cage, half asleep. His weapon leaned against a crate. Jace dropped behind him silently. Wham! A quiet punch from the boots' powered fists sent the alien tumbling into the sand, unconscious before he could even scream. Jace knelt by the cage. The girl flinched. He raised his hands. It's okay, I'm here to help. Her wide, glowing eyes locked onto his. She looked afraid, unsure, but not hostile. He whispered, Can you understand me? She nodded slowly. Jace used the boots to melt the metal bars, just enough to pull them apart. The girl crawled out, shivering in the cold. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her. Then came the sound. A distant horn. Alarm. They had been spotted. Go! Jace grabbed the girl's hand and sprinted into the shadows. The whole camp exploded into motion. Guards shouted. Searchlights lit up the junk planes. Fighters scrambled into the air. The chase had begun. Jace led the girl through a maze of ship parts, diving behind crushed engines, dodging bullets that whizzed past them. The boots gave him speed, faster than any human should run. But the girl stumbled. Her legs were weak. Jace scooped her into his arms without hesitation. I got you, At. With a mighty jump, he launched them over a hill of scrap metal, right as an explosion lit up behind them. The world rumbled, but the boots absorbed the shock. As they landed on the far side, Jace kept running. The boots began glowing hotter, humming louder. The girl looked up at him. Kaival? What? She repeated the word, then pointed to the boots. They chose you, Jace blinked. You know them? She nodded. They were protectors, warriors, my people. He stared at her, stunned. You're one of them. She nodded again. Before they could speak more, a ship screeched overhead. Bright beams scanned the ground. No time to stop. Jace spotted a narrow tunnel ahead, an old exhaust pipe from a fallen cruiser. He dove into it with the girl in his arms just as the beam passed. They rolled into darkness, gasping for breath. It was silent for a while. Then, Jace chuckled. That was close. The girl gave a small smile. It was the first time he had seen her show any emotion other than fear. My name's Jace, he said softly. She whispered, Neva. And in that quiet, flickering tunnel, with echoes of danger behind them, something changed between them. They weren't strangers anymore. They were allies, maybe more, bound by a forgotten legacy and hunted by powers that feared what they could become. The memory inside the boots. The tunnel was cold and damp, lit only by the blue light pulsing from Jace's boots. Neva sat beside him, her arms wrapped tightly around her legs. Her breathing was quiet now, calmer, but her eyes still watched every shadow. Jace leaned back against the metal wall and finally asked, Neva, what did you mean when you said the boots chose me? She looked down, then slowly raised her hand and pointed to the symbol on the side of the boot, an alien rune that glowed like the stars. That's the mark of the Korval, she whispered. The protectors of the old worlds. They weren't just warriors. They were guardians. The boots carry their memories. Jace stared at the mark. Memories? She nodded. Put your hand on the left side. The boots will show you. Jace hesitated, then did as she said. The moment his fingers touched the metal, the world around him blurred. His vision was pulled into a swirl of stars, fire, and war. He saw a battlefield in space, ships exploding, planets shaking. Then, a group of tall armored figures leapt through fire and debris, each one wearing glowing boots just like his. They moved like lightning. They saved children from falling towers. They stood between armies and civilians. They weren't soldiers. They were shields. Jace gasped. In the vision, one of the warriors looked directly at him. You were chosen. The voice echoed, deep and ancient. Not because you are strong, but because you protect. Suddenly, everything went dark. He was back in the tunnel, panting, sweating. Neva touched his arm gently. You saw it. He nodded. They were heroes. She nodded too. My people believed the boots were lost forever, but they weren't. They waited. Jace looked at her. And why were you locked up? Neva's face darkened. Because I carry their blood. She lifted her sleeve. Faint glowing lines shimmered across her arm, just like the boot's pulse. I'm a direct descendant of the Korval. That's why the raiders wanted me. I'm a key to something ancient, something powerful. Jace sat back stunned. A human junk scavenger, and a royal descendant of an alien warrior race, both brought together by broken tech in a forgotten dump. Before he could speak again, a loud hum began to fill the tunnel. Neva jumped. They found us. Jace stood quickly, checking his boots. They were warm. Charged. They must have tracked. The heat signature, she said. No time to run, Jace muttered. He reached down and offered his hand. Then we fight. Neva blinked. With me? He smiled. No, for you. She stared at him for a moment, then slowly placed her hand in his. Behind them, lights burst into the tunnel. 5 raiders stormed in, shouting in a harsh alien language. Jace activated the boots. Boom! He shot forward like a comet, slamming into the first raider with a powered fist. The metal floor cracked beneath them. Another raider aimed a plasma rifle, but Neva grabbed a fallen blade and deflected the shot with shocking precision. She moved like she'd been trained by warriors. She had. Jace took out 2 more with lightning-fast kicks, the boots guiding his every move. The last raider tried to run. Neva lifted her hand, and energy pulsed from her veins, slamming him into the wall with a silent burst of force. Silence returned. Jace looked at her, shocked. You can do that? She looked unsure. I didn't know I still could. Jace nodded. Well, remind me never to make you mad. They both laughed softly, the tension melting for a moment, but they knew this wasn't over. Not yet. Outside, the tunnel far above them, a massive alien ship hovered in the clouds, watching, waiting. The real enemy was still out there. But now, Jace and Neva weren't alone anymore. They had each other, and the boots, and the bloodline of warriors. Whatever came next, they were ready. The ship in the sky. The wind howled as Jace and Neva stepped out of the tunnel and into the open air. Above them, the sky was no longer dark. It burned red with the glow of an enormous alien ship. It hovered silently, casting a long shadow over the junkyard. Its hull shimmered with strange lights, and underneath, a massive hatch began to open. They're not just raiders, Neva whispered. That's a command ship. Jace stared. Then who are they really? Neva's voice trembled. The Rune Car. They were once protectors too, but they turned. They hunt my kind to erase the past. If they catch us, they'll erase us both. Jace looked at the boots on his feet, still glowing, still humming. Then we don't let them. Suddenly a sound filled the air, a deep chime that echoed through the sky. From the open hatch, a beam of blue light shot down, scanning the ground. Jace pulled Neva behind a pile of metal scraps. The light passed over them and stopped. They've locked on, Neva said. They'll send drones next. As if on cue, small silver orbs dropped from the ship like rain. Each one opened midair, unfolding sharp claws and glowing red sensors. Drones, scouts, fast and deadly, Neva said. We have to move, Jace nodded. Follow me. He took off, the boots giving him speed and strength. Neva ran beside him, surprisingly fast and nimble. The first drone swooped down. Jace jumped and kicked it midair, smashing it into a pile of garbage with a spark. 2 more chased them. Neva turned and launched a pulse of energy from her hand. One exploded instantly, but the last one darted behind and hit her in the back. Neva! She fell forward with a cry, her shoulder burned by the blast. Jace caught her before she hit the ground. You okay? She nodded weakly. Just stunned. He looked at the incoming swarm. Dozens more drones flying toward them like a metal storm. We won't make it like this, he said. Neva's eyes fluttered. Jace, the boots, they can do more. But only if you trust them. What do I do? She reached up and touched his chest. Let go. Let them in. Jace took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He focused on the hum beneath his feet, on the symbols that glowed along the boots, on the ancient memories that still lived inside them. Suddenly, the light around him grew brighter. Energy surged through his legs, into his chest, his arms, Even his mind, his eyes opened, glowing with blue fire. He stood up and turned toward the swarm, and then he moved. Not just fast, impossibly fast. He ran up a wall of scrap, leapt into the air, and slammed his fist into the center of the swarm. The explosion sent drones flying in every direction. He spun, kicked, dodged, struck. He was dancing through metal like a storm. From the ship above, a voice roared in a deep alien tongue. A new figure dropped from the sky, tall, armored, and pulsing with red energy. Neva gasped. "That's a Runekar general." Jace landed beside her. "He doesn't look friendly." "He's not. He'll come for me first." Jace stepped in front of her. "He'll have to get through me." The general raised a plasma blade. Jace clenched his fists. The wind held its breath. Then they charged. Metal hit metal. Sparks flew. The ground shook. Jace moved like a ghost. Untouchable. Furious. Precise. The boots weren't just helping now, they were part of him. But the general was powerful too. One strike hit Jace square in the ribs. He flew back and crashed into a metal wall. "Jace!" Neva screamed. He stood up slowly, blood on his lip. Then, he smiled, "Is that all you've got?" He ran again, faster than before. Boom! With one final punch, the boots unleashed a blast of energy that shattered the general's armor and sent him crashing into the earth. Silence. Neva rushed to him, her eyes wide. "You did it!" Jace fell to his knees. "We did it." Above them, the massive ship began to back away, sensing defeat. The Runekar were not ready for resistance, not yet, but they would return, and next time, they would come in force. The air of two worlds, smoke rose from the battlefield. The broken pieces of drones scattered across the junkyard, and the Runekar general lay still in the wreckage. Above them, the alien warship hesitated, hovering as if confused. Then, slowly, it turned, vanishing into the clouds, retreating like a beast that had tasted defeat for the first time in years. Jace stood in the silence. His chest heaved, his arms were bruised, and his ribs ached from the impact, but he was still standing. Beside him, Neva sat, her eyes still wide in disbelief. "You fought like someone born with the stars in his blood," she whispered. Jace looked at the boots on his feet, their blue lights fading now, almost as if they were resting. "I don't even know what I really did." Neva smiled. "You became what the boots remembered." He helped her to her feet, and the two began to walk back toward the old shack, stepping over broken metal, sparks, and ash. The stars began to return to the sky above them, one by one. Inside the shack, Jace sat down. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from everything that had changed in one night. Neva brought a flask of water and gently handed it to him. He drank. Then he spoke softly. "Who were the Runekar, really? Why did they want you dead so badly?" Neva hesitated. "Because I am the last of the Orin. My bloodline carries the code that can awaken the ancient technology hidden across this galaxy. But the Runekar want control, not balance. If they got me, they could unlock destruction." She looked at him deeply. "But now they've seen someone else unlock the power." "You." Jace looked down. "I didn't ask for any of this," she nodded. "None of us do. But some are chosen anyway." There was a long silence. Then she said something that shook him. "Jace, do you know where those boots came from?" He looked up. "They were made by humans," she said. He blinked. "What?" She nodded. "Your kind came to our worlds long ago. They fought beside the Orin. They disappeared, but their gifts remained. That's why the boots responded to you. You're their heir." Jace leaned back, stunned. "I'm not just some junk rat from Earth?" Neva placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are more than you ever believed." Outside, something strange was happening. The boots began to glow again, this time brighter. Then the whole junkyard rumbled. From beneath the ground, a massive platform slowly began to rise. An ancient structure. A hidden temple. A gate. Neva gasped. The boots activated it. From the center of the platform, a soft hum echoed. A projection appeared. An image of a Human figure in armor, speaking in a language older than stars, Neva translated. To the one who unlocks this gate, you are the bridge between worlds. You carry the fire. You are the last hope. The message ended. Jace stared at it in awe. I thought I was just looking for parts to sell. You found your purpose instead, Neva said gently. Suddenly a deep roar echoed in the distance. More ships. The rune car were returning, with more force this time. Neva didn't flinch. They won't stop until you're gone, Jace. He turned to her. Then I won't run. He stepped forward onto the platform. The boots responded again. Metal pieces from the dump began to rise, forming a suit around him. Stronger, sleeker, brighter. Not just a suit. A symbol. Jace looked at Neva. Are you with me? She smiled. To the stars. The gate behind them opened, revealing a swirling portal. Unknown worlds, ancient powers, and new threats beyond. But Jace didn't hesitate. He stepped through. Because he wasn't just human anymore. He was the heir of two worlds. And his story was only just beginning.